was very impressive for him, and he realized that in every painting at that time, the commitment, one of the major commitment was receiving from the church. Very rich place, very rich pope. They are giving to work to many, many artists to build all the symbol, all the church, all the statue, all the painting that they needed to put in front to everybody what was the story of Jesus Christ. And he understands that he cannot be free in his future to paint, because Caravaggio at the same time was any painter at that time, they really study the Greek philosopher, they really study the Bible, they really study any form of information that when they receive a commitment, they have to use some specific symbol in order to tell the story visually. There was a kind of dictators written down by the church that you cannot put or not put some visual symbols into a painting that can be accepted by the church. Otherwise, you'll be refused. So he understood that he have to hide through symbols sometimes the truth of one single person, like St. Matthew or the Madonna or whatever. Not only that, but there was another tragic episode that really touched him. There was a conflict between one family. He assisted to the cut of the head of Beatrice Cenci. She was accused to kill his own father. But the story was very tragic because also the father was abused her, and practically the church accused Beatrice Cenci to be an assassin. But there was also the will of the church, like it happened in many periods of time, that when somebody is accused publicly, who is in charge of the government is taking all the benefit of this family. So it seems that Beatrice Cenci, his mother and his brother, was accused that was decollated in front to everybody. That was the kind of condemn that was happening at the time. That's happened in front to a specific place called Castel Sant'Angelo, very near to St. Peter. That was actually the tomb of Hadrian, the Roman emperor. It did happen at the end of the day, but usually at the time when somebody was condemned, the remain of his body was left over there for a while, so people can see what's happened if you go against the law, the written law at the time. Without any doubt, what Caravaggio saw on Giordano Bruno and now in the decollated body of Beatrice Cenci at night, that was lit by fire, by torches, or brazier, make such a strong influence on him that he started to think in a completely different way. In my knowledge, the first painting that he did after those kind of episodes was the decollation of Oloferne, Giuditta and Oloferne. That's my interpretation, why he arrived to do this kind of painting in this way. I think that he put the models. She is Felide. She was a prostitute, became one of the friends, lovers of Caravaggio. And usually was using a prostitute, old people, or any person all around the kind of suburb where Caravaggio was living as a model. In my opinion, I think that he put the models nearby to a window with the light coming from one side, right side, he used the mirror to watching the painting, as he normally was doing. And I think when he started painting, he was not feeling comfortable because the light was not appropriate. Because the light was giving not the kind of tragic feeling that he felt at that night in front of the body of Beatrice Cenci being decollated. My feeling was that he shut the window and he used an oil lamp, probably from this side, a lantern that was lighting them. Of course, this is reflected. Everything is happening on the other side. But this is what he was looking through a mirror. Practically, he need to rebuild through light the kind of tragedy feeling that he had, very warm feeling, and a kind of no steady, but a kind of movement light. So artificial light. Practically what he discovered, exactly what we discovered in the film industry. When finally we discovered artificial light, we closed the studio that at that time we were using practically open, using only sunlight coming through maybe a curtain, and we created our own cave into a studio, where we can use light wherever we want, anytime that we want, according to the kind of story that we want to tell. Practically find himself totally free. Before, he was so obsessed by light that when he put the model near a window, he can paint only for a certain amount of time. Because after, let's say, late afternoon, the light was not similar any longer the one that he had at 10 o'clock in the morning. So you have to stop painting. If you have an intuition or the will to painting at dawn or at dusk, you cannot paint. Now, it was free. Now, discovering the artificial lantern, the artificial light is free. Like we are free to do in studio everything we want. From now on, practically, is going to use most of the time just artificial light. But when he arrived to receive the commitment of the Cappella Contarelli, he found himself in kind of trouble. Practically, they asked to him, to change the normal composition that he always has of vertical or horizontal. But the composition, the painting has to be square. And he had a lot of trouble to painting. For several periods, he going back and forth to try to find a kind of solution. Till he started to with the sacrifice. Now, practically, he put the assassin in the middle of the composition, prominent, and practically make a vertical composition. Practically, he put San Matteo on the floor. Almost look like the protagonist is the assassin and not San Matteo. This is the more strong composition they could find, and he lit with an artificial light coming from here. Practically, when he found this kind of solution from the sacrifice, he solved the two main problems. First of all, the problem of the composition in a sacrifice. Second, you have two frames, two sequences, two shots only to tell the story of one human being. How you can tell that this story takes some kind of beginning and end? That's the genius of Caravaggio. He used a natural light, daytime, for the calling, and used a night light, the artificial light, for the sacrifice. He's telling to us that there is a symbology on our journey that can be symbolized through the sunrise when we're born, the sun up to the midday during the middle of our life, and the sun on sunset when we die. Practically, he put a kind of symbology between human life and the universe movement. Into painting, practically, he told to us the entire journey. Into painting, he made one vertical element, one horizontal composition. Maybe it's only my mind, but practically he built a cross, one vertical and one horizontal. Probably. It's only my interpretation. Now, this painting was the major problem for him. He had to do in a horizontal way. Because we have Jesus, the hand, St. Matthew, we have St. Peter, some other people around the table that they count money. And without any doubt, the composition has to be horizontal. In my opinion, that, let me see, yes. Practically he found himself with the painting made, here was completely black at the beginning. And the composition was not a good composition. He was not used to do square painting. So what he did, he put a window over here, just as an ornament, just to compensating those parts with the top part. Because if you notice, this window doesn't do any effect. Do not is a source of light. It's only an ornament. The original light coming from here. You see, soft light coming from the right side, coming over here. Why? If you remember, this is the chapel. On top of this painting there is a window. This is the real chapel. The natural light from this window that is not in the frame illuminated this wall and this wall. So practically those people are illuminated from, this wall is illuminated from this soft light coming from here. And give the light to them. This window over here doesn't have any effect. The real light source is coming from the real window from here in the real church. Very interesting, huh? Why he did that? This is not his original idea. If we using the original light coming, a soft light coming from this side, they lit the wall, and we're using the same light on people, you have the kind of feeling that these people belong to this place. So practically the same light, they lit, for example, this wall, if we're using the people that put it over here with the same kind of style of light of the original source that lit the wall, we have the feeling that these people is here. In my knowledge, the first that did something like that is Andrea Mantegna, a painter that was born a century before. This is a fresco in in Mantua. Mantua is a north city near Milano. And Mantegna, if you go over there and you come into the room, there is a window over here. And into this window, Mantua is also North Italy. So North Italy has a very soft, usually lighting, winter light. And the light coming through through the wall over here, and the people, if you see, has the same soft light coming from the right side. So all those people, which was the court, living in Mantua at that time, is being lit like they are into this wall, into this room, because they were living into this palace. Not only that, but this is a fresco that I already showed to you. It's about Leonardo da Vinci in Milano. And this is the Last Supper. And also the Last Supper has the same kind of feeling. Here, in the original place, there were windows. And in Milano, once again, the light is very soft. And there were very soft light reaching this wall. In a very soft penumbra, practically Leonardo used the idea. Probably could be his own idea, or probably he watched the Andrea Mantegna feeling. But practically also this one, he lit those people with a very soft light coming from the window. So, because this painting is in a long room where the priest, the monk, they were used to eat. So practically he put a fresco of a dinner into the place where the monks are eating, and the lights are exactly the same of the original wall. Well, in my opinion, I think that when he had the idea to put the window, probably a blind window, without having any light coming through, he made the composition works. Probably the painting was already finished. So now we can deliver the painting like that without any problem. I remove in Photoshop, as I mentioned to you, the beam of light, because I want to really try to understand why the beam of light was there. It was leading something? No. The major idea is the fact that this one is only symbolic. Doesn't lead anything. And this is a great invention they had. I mean, it changed this history of painting. It changed all the visual art, using something as a symbol to creating something. Practically, with this, just with this beam, it make the difference between humanity and divinity, past and future, unconscious and overconscious, and so on and so on and so on. And from the moment that they had the idea to use artificial light, as we mentioned, practically he never went back to use daylight, unless he was doing a painting about divinity. But there is another story, my interpretation. Why put this kind of painting? Which kind of symbolic also has a beam? Now we are living in a country in Europe where we have the sunrise on the left side from our unconscious, and the sun moving in front to us at daytime, and a sunset, the sun is here. This is we already said that this is kind of symbol of the life of human being. The sun is a symbol in psychoanalysis of the male figure, like the moon is the symbol of the female figure. Why he put this? Why he had this idea? We said that the sunset means the death of the father figure. If the sun is a symbol of the male figure, the father figure, the sunset means the death of the father. I don't know. This is my interpretation. Probably he had the dream, or he was thinking of his own father. Probably. Or he was thinking of his own dad. But in my opinion, with this incredible intuition, he started his own epitaph, the chance to start to thinking about his own dream, about making a resume of his own life. He's trying to tell, like we normally do in our profession, his own story. How he did that? Well, this is the Madonna dei Palafrenieri. This is another young lady, very beautiful one. The become is also his lover. This is a painting of the Madonna, the Jesus, put the foot on the snake. The snake is a symbol of devil in this case. And once again, he used the daylight coming from the top. The story is that Caravaggio was not a very quiet man, for all the reasons that we already spoke. While he was living with the Cardinal del Monte, he has everything he wants. Now he was very successful after the painting of the St. Matthew Church. Everybody recognized him as a great painter. He has the money, he has the health, he has everything he wants, but also at the same time he was uneasy. So often he left his work, ran out, go to fight with the Spanish people at night with the sword, which was forbidden in Rome at the time. Was drunk, was going with prostitutes. His life was really a mess. Till one moment that he had to leave Cardinal del Monte residence because it was an offense every day to the church, the kind of life they was doing. So he went to live in another apartment nearby, 2 floors, but he need to have, when they have a commitment how to do this painting for a church in Rome, to have the feeling of the sun ray. So what he did, first of all, he painted with black all the room. Probably he doesn't need any more background. If you looking backwards, every painting they did before he arrived in Rome, the beginning of his life in Rome, till now, before he was painting some kind of background. Now the background doesn't exist any longer. Only the leading character. Second, we said that he had an idea when he did the Colline of St. Matthew to have the sun on sunset. Now we need to put the sun almost on top to do this painting. It's almost like he was going to, when you do a self-analysis, when you do your analysis, you're going backwards to your own life to remember every episode of your life. That's what he's trying to do. In painting, he's trying to go backwards with the light. Oh, sorry.